Hi, I'm going to share a story with you that has a lot of big words, but some really fun ones. And we've enjoyed reading this at home, so I thought I would share it and explore it with you. And it's called Big Words for Little Geniuses by Susan and James Patterson. And it goes from A to Z with big, fun words that we can explore. It is illustrated by Hinsing Pan, and the illustrations are a lot of fun, and they really help the words come alive so that we can understand a little bit more about what we're doing. I'm going to slide very carefully this protective book cover off because as beautiful as it is, sometimes it's easier for me when I turn the pages if I don't have it on. So this is called a book cover, right? And it helps, or a book jacket, and this helps us protect the book itself. What's wonderful, it has information on the inside about what the story's about, and on the back, it tells us a little bit about the authors. So for example, this tells us that Susan Patterson has dreamed of writing and art directing a children's book since she received her master's in fine arts degree at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. So Big Words for Little Geniuses is her first book with her husband, James Patterson. And he holds the Guinness World Record. How many of us could say we have something like the Guinness World Record of having the most #1 New York Times bestsellers and books sold, which is pretty incredible. He's a tireless champion of the power of books and reading, and basically has a simple message and mission, and that is that we want every kid who finishes a Jimmy book to say, please give me another book. So this is just a great way to get to know who wrote your book, and I'll put that over here while we look at the words and pictures in our book this morning. So Big Words for Little Geniuses. The first word is really hard for me to say, but what I really like about this book is that it actually defines sort of the phonetic way to pronounce the book for me. So this is the word with the letter A that we're going to be looking at today. And it's arachibutyrophobia, which is the alarming fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. I had never heard of that word before until I read this book. Does anybody have a fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth? Now, bibliomania for B is a word that I have heard before. And I love this word because I happen to be a bibliophile. I happen to love to collect as many books as I can. So bibliomania is a good word for me. How many of you like to collect books? Now C, the word for the letter C, is catawampus. And catawampus means tilted, diagonal, or just a little bit crooked. Catawampus. D is dulcifluous. The delightful word dulcifluous sounds like what it means, flowing gently and sweetly. E, imperial, means heavenly, enchanting. Like the blue color of the sky on a sunny day is imperial, or enchanting. What a lovely word. I've heard this word before in a song, flibberty-gibbet, a friend who loves to talk and talk and talk and talk, and sometimes your teacher, might be called a flibberty-gibbet. Flibberty-gibbet, lots of talking. And G, gobbledygook. Have you heard the word gobbledygook? If you hear words that sound a little goofy or nonsensical, like nonsense words, you're listening to gobbledygook. These are words that have no real meaning. Gobbledygook. Horripulation. H. If you're cold, scared, or excited, you may get horripulation or goosebumps on your head or body. I. Idioglossia. If you share a secret language with a friend, it's called idioglossia. Juxtaposition. When you put things side by side, when you put two things side by side, you've just made a juxtaposition. When we compare and contrast two different things, like these two different socks right here, the red sock and the green and orangish yellow, kind of this deep warm color here, we're making a juxtaposition. If you were to compare and contrast those two socks, what kinds of words would you use to describe them? Kerfuffle. Have you ever kicked up a big fuss about something like baking a cake? It's called a kerfuffle. It's a bit of a kerfuffle when I try to bake something in the kitchen. Lilliputian. Lilliputian is a word that I have read in a story before, but don't hear it normally in regular conversation. Lilliputian means very tiny or little, especially when describing a person. Magnanimous. This is an important word, especially this time of year. If you're magnanimous, you like to share your most favorite toys with your friends. Another word for magnanimous might be generous. Someone who is magnanimous is also kind. So it looks like she's sharing her rocket ship with her friends. What a very magnanimous thing to do. Nincompoop. A nincompoop is someone who's acting really silly or maybe a little naughty, and then they might be called a nincompoop in that moment. This is a word that we have looked at before. Oh, onomatopoeia. An onomatopoeia is a sound word like moo, splat, and oink. Can you think of others? What are some other sound words that we've talked about? Sound words. Roar, click, oink, ma, rar, spring, tick, tock, zap, pow, bam. We use onomatopoeia a lot. Pulchritudinous, P. Pretty and pulchritudinous mean the same thing, but one is much more fun to say. So next time you want to say that someone looks very pretty, you could try out the word, you look quite pulchritudinous today. Pulchritudinous. Quokka. The quokka is the happiest animal in the world because it smiles quite a lot. I wonder where the quokka lives. It might be Australia. Rapscallion. A rapscallion is someone who really likes to cause trouble. R. Rapscallion. Stelliferous. When the night sky is filled with stars and shining brightly, it is a stelliferous night. It was stelliferous last night. Tookus. Your tookus has lots of funny sounding names like Heiny, Tush, and Bum Bum. But tookus is another word for your bottom. Tookus. Undulating. Something that moves up and down is undulating, like waves of the ocean. Undulating. Not your normal alphabet book. Voletant. Voletant. It would feel very exciting to be voletant and fly through the air like a bird. Or like this bear and little girl on a bicycle. Whirligig. A whirligig spins around and around like a pinwheel in the wind. W. Whirligig. Xanthocroism. This word is also a word I had never heard before until I picked up and read this book. Animals that have xanthocroism are bright yellow or orange like goldfish. Yaffingale. Why? A yaffingale is a colorful bird with yellow and green feathers on its body and red on top of its head. Z, Zamboni. Zamboni is the name of the big machine that zooms around on an ice rink to smooth out the ice. And as we enter winter, there may be more ice and snow and frozen surfaces. Here are more big words that are in this book, additional words from A to Z, including words like bumfuzzle, kumquat, quixotic, whangdoodle, and yarnwindle. So there are a lot of fun words in addition to the ones we looked at today that you would be able to see. This book is an imprint of, where is my publisher? I believe it's Jimmy Patterson, James Patterson, which is an imprint of Hachette Books. So just know that there's a whole lot of wonderful things, and you can learn more about the book when you are not sure on the spine, right? And also, as you recall, on your book cover. So sometimes we take it off to read it, but it protects the book and it tells us a whole lot about the book itself, which is a whole lot of fun. So we're going to be looking a little bit more about these words and see if you can pick one and come up with your own definition and picture and sentence that you would like to use going forward. Because the more you learn, the more fun the world is.